So what do we have here? Well, we have a RYOBI P2107 18-volt hybrid electric blower. And as you can see from the serial number, I bought it in the third quarter of 2014. So this thing is about 7 years old, and it was working great, and then it stopped working. So I have no idea what happened to it. Did something come loose? This thing's been a workhorse. Not only do I use it in my lawn, but I also use it as part of my construction business. Every time I take my truck to the dump, I use it to blow out the back, clean job sites, and to blow out my shop on a regular basis. So you saw in the intro that I tried a battery. This is a 3 amp. It's fully charged. I'll verify that again for you guys so you can see that. And what I have right here is a 110 cord. Like I said, this is hybrid. And I'm going to plug it in real quick so you guys can see what else is going on with this thing. Here we go. Make sure I put it in the right way. And whoop. Sorry about that camera angle. That is definitely plugged in and still dead. All right, let's tear this thing open and see what's wrong with it. So this thing is held together with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 16 T10. I'm going to use this RYOBI ratcheting driver here. And this reaches every single screw except for this one right here. And so I'm going to have to use this standard T10 to get down in there. So let's take this thing apart. And we're going to do that first by taking off this nozzle. Oh, got my thumb there. Get that out of there. There it goes. And then that should come apart pretty quick. So it ended up being T15. Okay, looks like I got all of them. Oh, another label there holding it together. So here's my problem. This little arm right here goes on the end of this. This is the switch. Switch sits in here. Little arm goes against this spring steel just to give it some resistance. And then this arm rotates over and hits this little switch right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a battery in here, see if I can get that to work, and so we can verify that that was the issue. may get loud. Yep, broken switch. Pretty simple. So, two options here. I can see if I can glue all this back together. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to order a replacement switch. So let's see what we can do. There's a small piece missing here that just wasn't anywhere. So my best guess is this right here is the way this thing goes. So it kind of fits in there, but it's not a smooth connection. So I'm going to kind of just shoot for that right about there and see if that works for us. Okay, unfortunately, the glue did not hold. I don't know if it's what I did wrong here, if it just didn't cure right, but I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to take one more attempt at it and see if I can get that to work. Okay, so the glue I used before peeled right off of all the plastic as if it was never there. So I'm going to try a different super glue and see if that will make a difference. So I've got that glued back together and I'm going to let it cure. I started out with Starbond with the accelerator, and then I switched over this Gorilla Glue that I also had. Nothing on either one of these products. I think, honestly, that super glue doesn't work with this type of plastic. So I'm going to let that cure for a little while and see if that works. If that doesn't, I may have to switch to something like a model glue, where it kind of softens the plastic up and then cures it together. But the hard part is I went on the RYOBI website and this doesn't have a part number and I can't seem to locate it anywhere. So if I can't fix this one, I'm going to either have to model it up on my 3D printer or I'm going to have to cast it in resin. So that's my next step. Let's see how this one works. Hopefully this is, fingers crossed. Well, as you can see, that did not work. That glue just popped right off and came off clean as if it was never there. I still have the three original pieces, but I'm going to have to try some model glue, I think. So off to the store I go. Okay, I'm back from the store. 5-minute epoxy. That's what we're going to use. Everything they had there was a ethyl cyanoacrylate, which is super glue, same stuff. And they all had the little asterisk on there saying that they worked with most plastics, but not all. And I'm assuming this is the one that it doesn't work with. So we're going to try 5-minute epoxy. So it looks like the 5-minute epoxy worked. It's a little bit flexible still, so I'm going to let that cure overnight, and then I'm going to clean this little groove up because that's where it rides in the tool. Okay, see you tomorrow. So this has been curing for about 2 hours and it's still a little flexible and I don't have a lot of faith in this. So I jumped on Thingiverse on the internet and I have a 3D printer and I was able to print a brand new switch that someone had already modeled, and it took 20 minutes. So more time than I have spent trying to fix this. I could have printed this in probably a quarter of the time. Sanded it a little bit, and I've already test fitted in here once, and as you can see, works great. So we're going to take this and put it in there now. Well, that seems to work. Let's try it out. Yes. So this was a relatively simple fix that I put way more effort into than I probably needed to. I'll have a link to the Thingiverse file. There's a guy on Etsy that sells these pre-printed if you don't have access to a 3D printer. And I'll put a link to the RYOBI Parts Store. Unfortunately, this item wasn't available for some reason on the RYOBI Parts Store. But here it is, and it works great. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, put those down below. Speaking of comments, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you do, hit the bell for notifications. I've got some videos over here you may be interested in. Subscribe button's right down here. Thanks for watching. Dad it yourself.